By now, artificial intelligence or AI chatbots are very much part of your daily life. I know it. You use them to compose text, write social media posts, plan holidays, teach you concepts, even just understand new things. But something has happened this month that has fundamentally taken the capabilities of AI to a whole new level, and it has triggered a global meltdown on the stock markets, in boardrooms, and elsewhere. Enough for me to seek your undivided attention today, because this changes your life more than any existing AI capability that you've been happy to add to your everyday life. Wall Street is calling it SaaScopocalypse. SaaS, short for software as a service. I'm going to explain this in detail, but first let it be clear that this did not come from a market crash or a recession scare. It came from a simple technology demo. American AI firm Anthropic has showed this week that its AI agent called Claude Cowork can do, and the world has suddenly realized something very, very unsettling. AI is no longer a chatbot that simply answers questions. It is becoming a co-worker that actually does the work, your work. Think about that for a moment before I get into the details, because that distinction is everything. AI is going from being a useful tool to have around to literally doing your entire job, your work for you. Now, for over a decade now, software as a service companies made money selling tools that helped humans work faster. CRMs, legal research platforms, marketing dashboards, analytics software. But you still needed people to click, search, draft, analyze, decide. What Claude Cowork has done is flip that model completely. Instead of helping you work, the AI works alongside you like a colleague, like a force multiplying colleague. Or more bluntly, it works instead of you. And that is why stocks of companies have tumbled so sharply in the last 72 hours. Markets are forward-looking. Investors saw a future where entire layers of software as a service products are no longer essential. Why pay 5 different subscriptions when one AI co-worker can plan, execute, review, and iterate across all of them? Let me explain this even more simply, and I need you to pay even closer attention, viewer, because this is where it gets seriously mind-bending. Earlier, AI answered prompts. Now, AI takes ownership of entire tasks and workflows. I'll give you some examples. In legal tech, this is absolutely seismic. AI can read tens of thousands of pages of case law. It can draft contracts, flag risks, compare precedents, and even prepare litigation strategies. What once required entire legal firms, junior associates, paralegals, and multiple software tools can now be done by one AI co-worker in a matter of hours, potentially even minutes. In software and IT, AI is no longer just suggesting code. It is writing, debugging, testing, deploying, and maintaining entire applications. Many development tools just became optional. In marketing and media, AI can plan campaigns, write copy, design creatives, run A/B tests, analyze performance, and refine strategy without a full stack of software as a service tools or agencies. In finance and operations, AI can reconcile accounts, forecast demand, manage procurement, detect fraud, and optimize costs continuously, not just quarterly. This is why it is being called a SaaS apocalypse. Not because software disappears overnight, but because the value of many tools collapses when one AI co-worker can do the same job end to end. It is not a useful add-on for your work. It is literally the work itself. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, prepare to rely less on apps and more on AI teammates in the future, even now. Your productivity will jump, but so will the pressure to upskill. Roles that existed only to operate software will shrink. Roles that involve judgment, accountability, creativity, and strategy will matter more than ever. Think of it this way. This is not AI replacing humans. It is AI replacing the software layer humans hugely depended on. And that is why markets have panicked, because the future of work just accelerated by several years in one single product reveal. Joining me live now to understand what is being described as a SaaSpocalypse and how we should navigate, what is coming and what is already here. Very happy to be joined by Nikhil Pava, founder and editor of Medianama, very sought-after commentator on all things tech. Nikhil, good to see you. Thank you for being with me. Kanishk Agarwal is an AI and tech expert, CTO Judge Group of member of the Forbes Technology Council, and Neil Shah, Vice President Research and co-founder of Counterpoint Research. Welcome to all of you, to Neil, Kanishk and Nikhil. I'll start it off with you, Nikhil. I've just provided a very broad sort of contour of what I understand SaaSpocalypse to really be about. I've simplified it greatly, obviously, for a general audience, but this is in many ways something where a chatbot goes entirely to the next level, replaces entire workflows, and that's why companies across the globe have reacted the way they have. Your take on this, Nikhil?
I think, Shiv, we've been waiting for this to happen because the signs have been there for the last few months, especially when Claude Code started blowing up. And I think we should remember that Claude Cowork was actually created entirely by AI in about a week and a half or 2 weeks of time. So AI created this product that we're talking about. I have personally used Claude Code to build apps for myself, including a personalized health data app. I've used a personalized newsreader because I wanted it to have the specifications that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that some of this was like Claude Code made it in 15 to 20 minutes. So we're moving to an era where AI can create an app for you in, at times, less than 10 minutes. I made something for a friend in 7 minutes. So you're talking about 10-minute app delivery now, right?
Yeah.
And so what does that do to the settled applications ecosystem across the world? I think these apps still have glitches, they have holes, you can't really use them on the internet, multiple people still can't use them. But the fact is this technology is moving so fast, it's improving so much, so quickly, that a SaaSpocalypse is upon us, but it has been expected for a while, right? I would say I was at GSF's, which is a VC fund. They had a conference today in Gurgaon, and this was one of the things that was discussed there. But what I came away with in that conversation was that SaaS is not dead, it has shrunk. SaaS is still very complex. There are SaaS applications that are deeply embedded in the workflow of organizations. So while apps can change and apps can be made fast and they can be customized more, sometimes the level of customization is such that the humans are the bottleneck. We don't want to change. So while Wall Street is reacting really aggressively to this, I think for this to percolate across organizations, imagine how slow banks are to move, right? It will take a while. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, is all I'm saying. But the tech is there. I can see it, I use it, I play with it. It's a lot of fun. I think everyone should try this out.
It's dramatic, Kanishk. It's happening really, really fast, blazingly fast. One couldn't imagine building your own apps, all by yourself. And, Nikhil makes an excellent point. Claude Cowork was literally built, using AI. How do you see this? How big is this?
See, this is definitely big, from the perspective, because if you look into the platform perspective, it is capable of reading, reasoning, and executing knowledge work end to end. And if you believe on the traditional SaaS models, the applications that are there, they have focused more on the feature complexity, long onboarding of the user, and per user licensing model, right?
Yeah.
So what this model has challenged is the business model. It has challenged it that you cannot go for per seat license and billable hours. So if you look into the Indian IT companies as well, they have always benefited from the traditional model, which was of the effort into time, and that is my billable hours. But now it has rechanged this billability, and it's talking about outcome. What is the value that I'm able to thrive within that timeline? So if you look into these IT companies, they drive a lot of the revenue from application development, testing, support, and managed services. So any person who is a complacent and mediocre, I'm talking mediocre means that you're not adding value to the ecosystem, you're slow, you're not able to innovate, you're not doing system design or architecture, I think time is gone. So for you, it's important that you focus on innovation, execute it better, and then use these tools to allow you to work faster and better for the organization and for the business where you want to add value.
Absolutely. Neil, your take on this, it wasn't surprising in the least that you saw stocks across many companies and indices tumble, as soon as Claude Cowork and those plugins were actually unveiled for across 11 sectors, including legal tech. Were you surprised by what happened? It was almost immediate.
Yeah, I think it's more of a fundamental shift if you look at for most of the IT companies. So, everyone had a habit of charging per hour basis, man hour basis. That is completely going to go away with this, right? So it's going to be more on outcome based. And we don't, can you hear me? Yeah, we don't need humans actually for doing the grunt work, because it's actually transforming from a system of software to system of agents. And these agents are actually able to think fast, able to think laterally, do it more efficiently, right? Available 24/7. There is no drama, there is no emotion, right? And eventually it is more of a completely system where different agents talk to each other, right? So it makes it even more efficient. So, and we are moving from more of a software engineering to more of a prompt engineering, right?
Yeah.
As like Nikhil said, he created an app in 10 minutes. I was vibe coding over the weekend and I created one of the apps in for 15 minutes. And he's absolutely right. It's so simple. I am an engineer, but I'm not a coding expert, right? And what we are seeing with Claude Cowork, it's not only just going to augment different companies to create, build new software, QoS the software, but also it is helping the normal users to arrange all of their data for personal AI. It's not just about enterprise AI, right? So you can arrange all your files, all your images all together. And with different plugins, you can actually augment all the different work, trying to understand the legal part of it or HR and so forth. So it's very revolutionary.
Nikhil, I want you to paint us, you can add to that, Nikhil, and I also want you to, paint our viewers a picture of how things can change within, you choose any industry of your choice to try and illustrate an example for us of how this tech can completely revolutionize and change workflows. Nikhil.
So before I get to workflows, I want to just say that there's a paradigm shift that's taking place because applications as we had, like SaaS apps, were built to give us outputs. Agents actually are giving us outcomes. So if you give them a task, if they need to create an app to give you the outcome that you want, it'll create an app, give you the outcome, and just that's all that you care about. There are times when, for example, Claude, OpenClaw, which is now being deployed for personal use cases on WhatsApp, email, etc. There are times when it can anticipate your needs. So if it knows on your calendar that you have a meeting coming up, it can even automatically, without your permission, generate notes by searching the web so that you are prepared for your meeting even without asking it. So I think one of the other shifts that's taking place is that these agents are using autonomous agents that are coming into play, which if, for example, if they hit a boundary or if they hit a problem, they will learn and find a way to work around the problem, because their goal is to give you the outcome that you want or something that it thinks that you would expect. So this is very close to thinking and anticipating as human beings do, as your personal assistant might do. And so we are way ahead of where we were last year. We're way ahead of where we were last week or last couple of weeks ago. In fact, this is moving so fast that I honestly cannot anticipate how it will impact any industry, because every job today is up for grabs with AI. You're seeing these are foundational models that we saw that you thought will assist us, that we will chat with, but bit by bit they're shrinking, the jobs that have to be done by human beings, by allocating those jobs to AI. So, for example, a personal assistant's job is gone. A content writer's job went 3 years ago when ChatGPT launched. Coders' jobs are severely under stress. So bit by and it's hitting both entry level as well as decision making level at times, because you now no longer need, for example, a CEO doesn't necessarily need a chief of staff anymore. Or the chief of staff is super efficient, so if someone had more than one, they can do with one. So you're going to see shrinking across the workflow, across the value chain, and we aren't even getting to when what will happen in factories, because last year I was at Super AI and we saw humanoids, and they anticipate that there will be humanoids in factories, about 1 million of them by 2030 and about 10 million by 2035. I think they're being conservative because they're already being used in shipbuilding in South Korea. So bit by bit, things that we do, like deliveries through drones, are already happening.
Yeah.
You already have self-driving cars in the US. Obviously, India's traffic is a different problem to solve. But you're seeing stages of replacement coming in, first starting with content and creation, then starting with actions, which is now what we have with agents. We will see this happen with physical actions eventually. And you will also see it with manufacturing, with 3D printing. There are buildings being 3D printed in China.
Yeah.
So bit by bit, you're seeing all parts of the work of what we do today getting replaced.
Incredible. All of those things that Nikhil has just mentioned, it's only a matter of time before they happen at scale, perhaps. They're already happening. It's only a matter of time before they happen in a bigger way. Kanishk, we've seen what's been happening to companies, SaaS companies and others. How are they preparing for this? Because it's only going to get bigger, as Nikhil said.
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned, business model definition and adoption has to go. So the way they approach this has to change. From a Claude perspective, it's an enterprise-ready product, which is more predictable. The benefit here is that you have the human in the loop in the paradigm here. So that means the decision is not made by Claude. So there is no chance of hallucination. It tells you that whether it's feasible or not to take that. So you cannot remove the human part in the value chain ecosystem. And it reduces the friction in the regulated industry. So let's look at engineering, pharmaceutical, other. So I think from an Indian IT company landscape, I think we have these layered approvals and human oversight already in our ecosystem. All we need to do is we need to adopt this model into our business model a little bit more strategically, ensure that we utilize these AI co-workers more intelligently into our ecosystem, and ensure that how we can add value to the businesses that we are serving. So I think it's not about reinventing the wheel, but it's more about not retreat altogether.
Okay. Nikhil has an interjection. Nikhil, go ahead.
I had a very quick point. I think the human in the loop condition or requirement is actually shrinking, because people are identifying where is it where there is greater risk, and where is it where error is tolerable. So you do have autonomous agents that are performing these actions without a human in the loop, because I don't care if the code that it's writing is accurate or not. If it's on my device, if it's not exposing my personal accounts, etc., I'm okay with it as long as it gives me the outcome I want. So what we're faced with right now is a requirement to assess what our risk profile is and where do we need intervention, because there are agents that are also acting without human intervention. They're deciding what you might need and acting for you as well. So Claude co-work aside, I think we have to look at OpenClaw and what that is doing, because that's where actually real autonomous behavior is coming in. It might not impact SaaS companies right now, but it's an indication of what's ahead of us.
The human in the loop, the space for the human in the loop is shrinking, Neil. How do you see that, what Nikhil just said?
I think with all the systems, it is going to boost the productivity. Everything is great. But what is happening is there should be a standardized protocol on how different agents should talk to each other. There should be a governance layer and a strong policy management on what data is accessible and what data should be used and what data is not sent back to the cloud to be trained, right? So if I have an intellectual property where I have my algorithm and I have, as a company, I've built a code base using Claude Code. That code should not be going back to the Claude cloud or Anthropic cloud, and they can reuse it to help other companies build the similar product, right? So I think that governance layer at IP protection is important. At the same, there are, since this becomes more autonomous, it's going to be very difficult to control from security point of view in terms of if there is a malicious code within particular data we are extracting from a PDF file, for example, right? And a PDF file has embedded a malicious code, then the agent will parse it as a normal text and it could inject back into the system, right? So there are a lot of open-ended, I would say, security lapses which could happen. And that is where a governance layer is very important. Human in the loop is definitely important. So there will be agents which will create the code, do the QA, but it has to be signed off by humans.
Nikhil, a question that one often hears, when we're on this topic is people feeling overwhelmed, by what they see. They feel overwhelmed. There is this anxiety about, not doing it right, missing the bus. It's moving so fast that they're not, staying on the level with it. Am I making full use of something that's changing everyone else's life? What would you say to those individuals, Nikhil, right now about what we're talking about?
So look, there are two ways of looking at it. Either you can say that life is passing you by, or you can take it as a game, think of it as a playground, go into the playground and try the different rides, right? So that's what I'm doing. I actually absolutely love this space. I am obsessed with it. I'm spending most of my day playing around in AI, trying different tools, building some things. It's a lot of fun, and that's how I'm able to write about it, because I'm also experiencing it. I'm building an understanding of it. Unless we experiment and play, it will leave us, it'll pass us by.
Yeah.
I would rather be excited about OpenClaw and Moltbook and whether agents are forming their own social network and whether they are plotting to take over the world, and all that excitement is actually, for me, it's positive. I get a lot of energy from that excitement, right? So I'd say it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
If you think this is moving too fast, you are right, which is why it's important to try to remain on top of it and try and play around with it, allocate some time, allocate time on the weekend to try and look at a YouTube video and figure out, maybe even just connecting Claude Code to Obsidian as a starting point, right? So start playing is what I'm saying. Where to start is a tricky part.
Yeah.
And that's where the work lies. You got to go and read tweets and comments and look up videos and see where you want to go with this.
Yeah, no, and following Nikhil Pava on social media is one place to start, so you can start plugging into what you should be reading. But last word to you, Kanishk. Get out and play, says Nikhil. That's the only way to do it. Stop being anxious, get out and find a way to get into it.
I have a different take on it. So see, AI may help us move fast, right? But it can also break trust. So hallucinations, because there are different AI models there. So what is important is that if you are a resource simply using it, or a business, it is important that you take the responsibility, understand that what is inclusion, what is the business case, use case where you want to apply, and how you can scale that to derive that business value.
Yeah.
So the tools like Claude, they align with the vision, but it is important for us to be smarter, safer, and stronger.
Well, I'm very inspired to get out and play, I can tell you, and I've learned a lot speaking to the three of you. Thank you very much, Nikhil, Kanishk, and Neil. I promise you that NDTV will do its best to put out authentic information in this very, very exciting space. We're going to try and do something each week, and we'll have you back here on the show. Thank you for your time, gentlemen, here on NDTV. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
So the enigmatic man behind Anthropic and Claude co-worker that we've just been talking about is Dario Amodei. Highly sought after. His views on AI are seen in many ways as paradoxical. He's seen in some ways as an anti-hero. Here's his story.
TV, YouTube, Instagram, even here on NDTV 24/7, NDTV India, and on NDTV Profit across the network. One name is sounded everywhere, Dario Amodei. But who is he? What does he do and how is he different from Sam Altman? And why does he keep talking about the risks of AI despite being the CEO of one of the biggest AI companies in the world? Let me explain. Dario Amodei is an American AI researcher and entrepreneur best known as the co-founder and CEO of Anthropic, the company behind the Claude family of AI models. He is widely seen as one of the most influential technical and strategic figures in modern AI, especially in the evolution of LLMs, large language models, reinforcement learning from human feedback, and the push to make powerful AI systems safer and keep them under control. Now, over the last decade, his work has consistently paired frontier model development with a strong emphasis on alignment and make it easy to interpret as well. Trained as a physicist at Stanford University, Amodei moved into industry research where his impact accelerated. After early roles at Baidu and Google Brain, he joined OpenAI, yes, Sam Altman's OpenAI in 2016, and quickly rose to become research director and VP of research. At OpenAI, he led the AI safety team, helped guide the development of GPT-2 and GPT-3, and is widely credited as a co-inventor of reinforcement learning from human feedback. That's a training approach that later became foundational to ChatGPT-style systems and Anthropic's Claude models. Throughout this period, he argued that safety research had to scale as fast as model capability, so that big thrust and focus on security and safety is something that he has followed for a long time. In late 2020, Amodei left OpenAI and in 2021 co-founded Anthropic with his sister, Daniela Amodei, as a public benefit corporation built explicitly around safety-first AI development. AI with the guardrails that we've been talking about. Anthropic is known from the Claude models and for its alignment framework called constitutional AI, which uses written principles to shape model behavior rather than relying only on ad hoc human feedback. Under his leadership, Anthropic has rapidly become one of the world's leading frontier AI labs and a major alternative for enterprises and governments seeking more controllable and safer regulated AI systems. Beyond running Anthropic, Amodei has emerged as a prominent voice in global AI policy and governance debates. We saw him at Davos as well at the World Economic Forum, where he largely argues that scaling laws suggest near human or superhuman AI capabilities could arrive within this decade, describing future systems as resembling a country of geniuses in a data center. At the same time, he warns that AI could concentrate power, disrupt labor markets at unprecedented levels, and introduce new categories of catastrophic risk if left unmanaged. His core message is that society is underestimating both the pace and breadth of AI's impact, and that candid discussion of risks is essential for policies and safeguards to keep up with progress. He's been vocal about this, and it's kind of interesting because he walks this very tight rope between running a successful AI company, a top 5 AI company, and of course also talking about the perils of AI. When you talk about AGI, ASI, even the last couple of weeks, he's been very vocal about what happened even in this whole Molt Book controversy with AI agents talking to each other. Dario Amodei has pointed this out a bunch of times. Sam Altman has a particular view on AGI. Elon has another one. Jensen talks about ASI, artificial superintelligence. Dario Amodei as well believes that a safer AI and an AI under control is the only way forward.